For this next session, which is entitled Making Digital Learning Easy for Teachers, it will be presented by Mr. Hani, the CEO and founder of Velawoods UK. Mr. Hani is a business strategist and entrepreneur with over 20 years of international experience in education and sustainable development. Mr. Hani and his team is focused on creating an innovative, interactive, and immersive learning experience that mirrors what these learners are used to in their day-to-day use of technology, and thus making sure that the learning engages them and keeps them engaged until they finish a course. Over to you, Mr. Hani.
Welcome to Velawoods English, the unique and enjoyable English language learning experience. Learning a new language can be challenging. However, from the moment you log into Velawoods English, you'll experience a whole new world of interactive learning. Travel through a story filled with real-life situations that revolve around you and the other characters living in the virtual world of Velawoods. Come and meet the people who live in Velawoods, in their homes, at work, and when they go shopping. As you travel around the town, you will get involved in a range of day-to-day scenarios. This will help you to develop language skills that will be useful in real life. Even better, you can talk to the characters. State-of-the-art Carnegie speech analysis will provide detailed feedback on your pronunciation. Velawoods English's learning experience is true self-study. It is carefully structured and supported so that you can easily learn on your own. However, your own virtual teacher will guide and assist you throughout your course. What's more, on successfully completing each course, you will receive a certificate of completion which you can print or share with your friends on social media channels. You are in control, so you can decide how much time you want to spend learning each day. Interactive exercises, games, and quizzes offer an enjoyable way to practice, improve, and expand your language skills. You can choose which language skills you want to practice, like grammar usage and speaking. You can access all this from your PC, your tablet, or your smartphone, so it's available 24 hours a day, whenever you want to learn. Just visit velawoods.english.com.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Hani and I'm the CEO and founder of Velawoods English. Welcome to my presentation about making digital learning easy for teachers. In this short presentation, we're going to talk about problems that teachers face, problems that students face, and what can help in solving some of these problems and making that experience, as you said, easy for teachers. And of course, we'll have hopefully some time at the end for a couple of questions. So to start with, we talk about problems for teachers, and from talking to different teachers before the pandemic and now after the pandemic, because things obviously changed, there are a set of problems that always come across. Of course, this is what we list here is not everything, all what's being faced, but some of the things that always come across as being very common. If we look at the material that teachers have, for example, it's always an issue that the complicated teachers' manuals that they have to read, prepare, and not only the teacher's manual, it's that the whole preparation time that's required for each classroom is time consuming, and it creates more load and more pressure on teachers. The other point was always brought up was that books and having, or if it's books are not available when we're doing digital stuff, we are told, oh, go to the LMS, print something, then we have to distribute it to the learners. Or the books themselves are not designed in a way that they go well with the digital content that's being used in the classroom. And that, of course, became a bigger problem during the pandemic when you don't have the students with you in the class to be able to use the books, but you're still following the book's curriculum and the book lesson plans, which makes it as well more of a challenge. And connectivity problems, and that always happened in both cases, whether you are in the classroom and you need to make sure that you have good connectivity so the online or the digital content can be played properly in the class, or if you're conducting an online classroom, to make sure that you have a good connectivity as well as all the students do, and there's no pauses or things that get dropped off students that you have eventually to pick up. And that's become, I can imagine, we all have that. It is quite stressful, and it adds to the complication of running an online class and using digital content in a classroom. And complicated LMSs, and this comes up, and some people don't always feel confident talking about it because they think it's the teacher's fault that you are not technologically savvy. That's why you're finding the learning management system and the reports complicated. We disagree. We feel that a lot of the LMSs out there and the um, and the reporting that's available for teacher is complicated and doesn't create the best experience and makes the life of teachers more difficult than it should be. And in general, the whole situation can be quite overwhelming for teachers to use digital when in reality it shouldn't be. It should actually be quite easy and supportive, because the technology should support teachers as opposed to making it a hassle or a problem to be solved. So before we talk into solution, we just want to talk briefly about students. And to be honest, we feel that this is very simple. It's just boring. Students always come to us and say, the content is boring. We don't like it. It's just I don't want to do it. And I think you also had the same issues with students not finishing lessons. You're trying to get students to do their homeworks online, and it's not as engaging as they want to be done. And we'll talk a bit about more in the next slide, but the main point is always that students are not the same as when we were students. Time moved on. A 10-year-old or a 15-year-old or even 18-year-old now, the way they look at content and the way they look at learning is very different. And there's different. This generation were born with mobile phones, with streaming videos and Netflix and all the others in there, and we still have a lot of the content that we have out there and a lot of the digital learning that's out there. Although it's digital, it's not done for them or done with them in mind. So that brings us to the next part of what can help and what cannot help. We believe that it's all in the content and of course then the platform. And from our experience with Velawoods, we realized that to engage your learners or your students, you need to make sure to give them what they want or what they're used to. And we've seen sessions in the symposium and other conferences about gamification and all of this, which is great, and this is actually a good way forward. But also we need to think a bit deeper onto that. As we said before, this generation was born with mobile phones, was born with streaming TVs and series and binge watching on stuff on TV. Different. We had to wait one week for the next episode of our favorite series. Now you can watch a whole series over the weekend. So these things do impact us as learners and educators, and we need to understand how that learners will then need to be presented for them. And one of the things we thought is that stories, for example, are very important. And how can we get that stories that they watch being the learner involved in them? Because we all like a story and we all want to be involved in one. So imagine if the learning brings that to life, or and again, one of the other things that we always talk about is how it's online, so the learners must enjoy it because it's on the mobile. They can do it on their mobile. But again, not all online is exciting because it can be quite repetitive. And learners will always, they won't want to watch a video and do an activity and then watch another video and do an activity and so on and so on. Sometimes some people call it's like a treadmill. You're like on a treadmill over and over again, and learners get bored with this. And looking at these things, we've always found that if you create an experience for learners, like we did with Velawoods, that it's about you're immersed in a world and then you meet people there and characters and you talk to them and you engage, and there's a story going on in the background, and so it feels like gamification, but actually it's not a game. It feels like you're part of a story and a series, and you're going along with what's happening, but at the same time you're learning. And this potentially brings us to the fourth and most important point, makes it easier for teachers, because when your learners are engaged and they are enjoying what they're doing and they're learning effectively because the content is designed to present learning objectives in a proper way and designed for learners to do it on their own, it makes the work for the teacher easier, because they will need to prepare less, because the technology is doing a bit of the work that the teacher needs to be done. And then the teacher can then focus more on the individual learner's needs and how they can help each and every learner in things that they are struggling with, as opposed to create a whole classroom experience with all the daunting factors in it. And of course, you have a platform that is easy to use, direct reporting. You don't have to worry about a lot of things, because again, the technology is your friend there, and you can use stuff offline, and you don't have to do a lot of printing and stuff. And if you're using the books are designed in a way that they complement the learning experience online. So you can use, if you're in a classroom, you can use more of the book. If you are in using a virtual or online class, you can use more of the online content, and then that can engage learners and keep them more excited, and at the same time lower the workload and the preparation that you have to do. And to be honest, as being a short presentation, this brings us to the end of it. And if you have any questions, I'm available to answer a couple now. Otherwise, you can always visit our website or email us at the addresses available on the screen now. And I'll just take a short pause and we'll be ready for the questions. Thank you very much.
Hi, Hani. That was a really interesting presentation. It's really cool product
Thank
that
you
you
very
have
much.
that. Yeah, I do have two questions from the audience, which I'd like to bring it to your attention. Now, the first question
Sure.
is from a teacher. She's asking, there are many online content by big famous publishers, but student engagement is always a challenge. Why do you think this is happening?
Thank you for the question. And yeah, this we've seen this quite often in the industry, and because we see that a lot of content out there. They do a lot of nice videos. They show learners how to go to a restaurant, and then, for example, to learn the language of how to speak, or order food or buy groceries in a shop, and all of that. And then they do activities. But the issue that we always find with learners now, as we mentioned before, is that their appetites change, and they see that content as being very passive, that doesn't involve them. They're watching other people doing stuff, other people going to a restaurant or buying groceries. What we've done with Velawoods that helped a lot, and we see that the engagement goes more, is because it's a story and the learners are themselves going to a shop, and we create that virtual environment where they go and order food, talk to a waitress, and they're going there with friends, and they're going or they go then to a grocery shop to buy some food to cook, because they're going to a barbecue because somebody invited them. That whole sequence of story, and because it's about the learner themselves, makes it more interesting and making it more engaging. However, if they're just watching stuff, even if it's nice and flashy, if it's the same of other people doing stuff, they will get bored after some time. They will be engaged in the beginning because it might look nice, but after some time, it will get boring again. That's
Yeah, that's really cool because obviously when one is engaged, when one is involved, obviously that's one of the big, I mean the key factor, right, to get the student engaged and basically absorb everything that they should be learning. Actually, that's a really
exactly.
point. Yeah.
Sorry, exactly. And they also learn better, because we always know that you learn more by doing something yourself as opposed to watching somebody else doing it. So with that immersive experience, we're truly immersive, where they are involved in the story or involved in the action, they will learn better. And it will be more interesting for them. It will be like they are like an actor or a character in a story, or something that they watch on Netflix, so that they will really enjoy.
That's cool. Okay, I have another second question for you, also from another teacher. He was saying that preparing for online classes takes the bulk of the teacher's time. Would your program help solve this problem, or address the pain point for these teachers?
Yes, and my thing is not only just to I don't want to sell you my program, obviously, but it's always when you're looking for a program or digital learning, be very careful into looking into the learning management system, as we talked before, into how you can use it not only for the students to be exciting and nice, but also for you as a teacher, that you don't have very complex reporting or you have very complex interface from your side. And for example, one of the things we've done is that in the beginning we had this feedback that teachers said, oh, it's very simple, I don't have to run a lot of reports, I can run 1 or 2 reports, it's 2 buttons on the screen, and I can know everything I need about the learners. And sometimes I know some providers think, oh, we need to provide this kind of report and this kind of report and this kind of report for teachers, and that makes it much more difficult. And having a simplistic approach, which we've done, makes it easier, and then makes it easier for the technology and for the content to help the teachers, so they don't have to prepare too much before each class. And as we said as well, is that because the learners are engaged and they're happy, you have to do less work to get them engaged, to excite them, to get them involved in the learning. Then you're more focusing on seeing, okay, where is that weak student that I can work with or support in more effectively. I hope that
Actually,
answers the question. Yeah.
that's a really good point. Actually, I mean, it's all about engagement, and when the students are happy and engaged, 50% or better is done, or maybe more than that. Okay,
Exactly.
so
Exactly.
yeah, thank you very much, Hani, for
Thank
sharing
you.
with us.
Thank you for
We're
having
glad
us.
to have you on our show, and we'll be in touch
Thank you.
again. Thank you, yeah.